Our debate is focused on whether the United States government should actively monitor or potentially control technological advancements. As technology advances and evolves rapidly, it changes every aspect of our life, including work, school, how we communicate with people, and personal privacy. The government's job would be to ensure that these technological advancements align with the public's interest and to protect them from harm. On the affirmative side of this debate, we argue that the United States government should actively monitor and/or control technological advancements. We believe regulations and oversight will ensure that such advancements align with the public view on safety and minimize potential harm. Unmonitored advancements could put the public at risk without proper regulation, making government involvement necessary to protect them.
The influence of technology is extensive in the U.S., and though corporations have lots of experience in these different technology disciplines, government monitoring is needed to handle these concerns in a way that isn't completely influenced by the need to make money. Government monitoring would also be crucial to the protection of Americans against cybersecurity attacks. Allowing control would allow them to develop defense strategies against breaches and threats. With this collaboration between technology companies and the government, they can enhance the systems on devices and limit risks that threaten the privacy of the countries. Another issue stemming from technology development is misinformation and how it affects people consuming digital information, especially on social media. Implementing government tools and policies into these platforms would help stop the spread of fake news and that the public is vulnerable to. I also want to talk specifically about responsibility with AI contributing to misinformation. As it continues to become more advanced, we need to consider if that should really be left out of the hands of the government. It creates ideas using other information that isn't always true. Better monitoring of manipulated information from both people and AI needs to come from further government enforcement of the content guidelines on these platforms. This is also a crucial area for government control to prevent the risk of surveillance of people from hacking.
All right, negative.
Imagine getting constant resistance on the assignment because your teacher wants to control and stifle your creativity. That's what the government wants to do when controlling our technological advancements. Control does nothing but hinder innovation and reject individuality. Not only that, but the control of something that completely changes the way we function as human beings is unethical, unfair, and intrudes on people's privacy and human rights. Control such as this is an example of techno-authoritarianism, where the government will leverage technology to maintain power and monitor people, all under the guise of maintaining security or social order. Consider China, where their government controls their technology. Everything from what you look at or look up online is put. Everything from what you look up online to what is put online. Now, the United States already has a privacy issue with 200,000 people being unlawfully searched in 2023 because the government was able to look people up. According to the Fourth Amendment, we are protected by the government from all unlawful searches like that. But government agencies don't honor the law as they should. If we don't have privacy already while the government doesn't control much, imagine the lack of privacy if we can't control it. Additionally, as everyone knows, the company formerly known as Twitter has changed its name to X under the leadership of Elon Musk. But what many don't know is that Elon Musk believed that social media should honor freedom of speech and that the government had too much control over what gets put on the media. So we bought the company and changed the rules. And ethically, the control over what people can and can't say stifles people's innovation. And without innovation, we wouldn't have companies like Amazon or Apple or Tesla. Without innovation, we wouldn't even have America, as we separated from Britain and left control and made our own country.
Consider the government's use of surveillance methods. Through advanced technology, the government can predict and collect personal information about people, including their political and religious beliefs, who they voted for, and even their close relationships. All of this can be done without the person's consent. These predictions and data collections invade privacy in the most private parts of our lives, allowing the government to use this information to gain even a deeper insight into who we are, what we think, and who we surround ourselves with. Next, look at the increase of facial recognition technology and tools like facial ID, which is on every one of our phones. With cameras and smartphones, the government can track individuals in real time, whether they are working or walking down the street or attending a protest. When authorities can monitor who attends to protests or rallies, it becomes a tool to silence voices. This constant surveillance changes public opinion because people know they are being watched. They are far less likely to post their they're far less likely to publish or share their true opinions out of fear or consequences. This is how people's ability to speak freely and gather together is weakened. These points warn that too much government control over technology possesses a serious threat to our personal freedoms, particularly our right to privacy and free expression. Also, some of you might be thinking, these privacy invasions don't apply to me. But everyone thinks that, and as we continue to think that, over the years we're going to allow our government to keep gaining access to our personal information, and eventually they're going to.
Affirmative, you now have 7 minutes for your elaboration and rebuttal.
So we really want to stress that with these new advancements and all of this new technology coming out, that it needs to be monitored and controlled. There are so many threats and dangers and with some of this new online technology, whether it's hackers or misinformation or AI or any of our other points like we were stating. Something that Hannah was talking about was the innovation that keeps us from being innovative and creative, and the government is holding us back. But that's actually very far from the truth. The government intervention can stimulate and not stifle innovation. The internet and GPS started as government projects, and without the government, we wouldn't even have the companies like Amazon and Tesla and all of those. The government has to protect and lawfully allow those to happen. And when the government provides oversight about ensuring that technologies are developed responsibly and safely, which creates greater trust in innovation. When the government can tell you that, yes, this is safe, people trust this. And if you ever go onto a website or try to go onto an app and it says that it's blocked, that's the government blocking it. Because the website might be full of hackers or be easy to gain your access from. The government is protecting us from these websites and not keeping us from them. And we wouldn't, like I was saying, we wouldn't have any of these companies without the government, helping us.
Another point they brought up was how the government would survey them and take their information and use it against them. But that is already what big companies like Facebook did a couple years back, where they stole information and sold them on the black market for profit. They stole people's information and gave it away just for money. And the government can help regulate that. They wouldn't take as much, but they wouldn't take it and they wouldn't sell it either. That is the big thing. Just selling, and these big corporations have so many data breaches, privacy violations, and they spread so much misinformation. So the government can help regulate that and spread more factual information.
The negative side also brought up how other places like China has less privacy and that kind of stuff, and how they have more control on that, and that's how it's better or worse. But one of the technological advancements that they have made over in China that's controlled by the government is making sure whenever a photo is taken on any camera or phone that's been purchased over in Eastern Asia, the camera makes a shuddering clicking noise. You cannot disable this. The reason why they did this was because so many people perverts were taking pictures under schoolgirls and women's skirts. This was a huge problem, and the government acknowledged this, and that's why they enforced this technological advancement to come to fruition. This is a side effect of government control over technological advancements. If we were to implement this over here in America, this could help make people aware of the dangers of people around them, make people aware of taking pictures without consent. Speaking of consent, they also brought up how if we were to control technological advancements, privacy would be made without our data collection of our privacy would be opened up to the government without our consent. That's already happening, and you can turn that off. On Instagram, there is a setting. If you go to your settings, there is a privacy and data collection subdivision. If that is naturally turned on, this is so they can show your feed and ads to other outside things like Google. And so if you ever acknowledge, sometimes you'll talk to someone and then all of a sudden on your phone, you'll suddenly be like, oh, I was just talking to someone about that, but I never actually looked it up. It's because your apps share data with each other already. You can turn this off in your settings. This is something the government doesn't control and doesn't collect automatically. It does connect automatically, but you can turn it off. They don't have to do that. And so if the government were to continue doing this, they don't really have to. It can always be turned off.
Another piece of what the negative side was talking about is that control is keeping us and it's doing bad things and it's, all of this stuff, it's keeping us from being innovative or whatever. But control is actually good and we need it. There's a reason that we have laws in this country, and that's to control us. That's to control us from doing bad things and harming other people. And that's the same thing that the government is doing with technology. We need control and we need restraints to keep us in line and to keep everything safe and regulated. And that is exactly what the government needs to do for technology and the internet and a bunch of other technological advancements like AI to be safe and controlled. Because control isn't only, yes, control can be overused and overdone where it can be bad, but it's not what the government is doing. It's just all they're doing is trying to keep us safe, and that's that is their purpose, is to keep us as citizens safe, and that's what they're doing for these technological advancements.
All right, negative side, you now have 7 minutes.
Okay, so I heard that one of your main points was the safety over public safety, but safety is absolutely crucial, but it can still be ensured without the help of government surveillance. With the expansion of government surveillance, hackers and criminals have more access to reaching others' privacy because it'll become easier for them to have access to it. Since the government already has access to it, they can enter those systems, which enters into the entire government system that has access to surveillance over private cameras, AI, facial recognition. For example, in 2019, a Russian-led attack against SolarWinds, which is a network management software company used by the government, it resulted in one of the most widespread, sophisticated hacking campaigns ever conducted in the US. This just demonstrates how hackers can access systems by exploiting weaknesses in government monitoring technology. And this is because there's more accessibility for them and information for the private of the public when it is also available to government to control and monitor.
Another main point y'all brought up was privacy. And while government is trying to implement technology advancements to stop these companies stealing and selling your personal information online, they also are trying to take that personal information for themselves to basically track you and to keep you under control, which honestly I don't want the government to do that. But as a citizen, once you sign up for these apps or these social media platforms, you are agreeing and consenting to letting them use your privacy and stuff to sell and to sell your information, and you are signing up for that. Like, you sign a contract and you say, I agree to use this and these are the rules, and they guarantee you there's no way that your information or online privacy will be protected because you are signing up to use their app. If the government can track technology advancements, such as your social media platforms and search engines and like what you look up, they can gather all the personal data that you are using online, and which, in my personal opinion, is an invasion of your privacy and is somewhat unlawful. So, for example, after someone searches for a product or idea, that same thing that they search up will come back up as an ad or something on a social media platform. And this is basically how these social medias track your information. And the government is trying to do the same thing, so they can gather like this whole like big like personal data on you and then track you. In August 2023, the U.S. Government Accountability Office reported how the IRS monitoring access to sensitive taxpayer information was basically leaked and was easy for like hackers and people to invade. And so the IRS is a government thing. So imagine if the government had all this information of your online privacy, and it's not being, they can't keep all your information safe, and people are invading, would be able to invade all this stuff if they had all this like data on you from online.
Okay, and just to back up Quinn's point, moving out onto like human rights and just the rights that we have as citizens, when the government monitors and controls technological advancements, it's an invasion of privacy and goes against our human rights. The Constitution, through the Fourth Amendment, protects people from unreasonable searches and seizures by the government. This amendment protects our rights to privacy, and if the government is breaching these rules by being able to monitor our technological advancements, then they're going against the law and the Constitution. And the data that is being collected by the government is not always for legal purposes, as you guys were saying. The Ronald Reagan Presidential Library and Museum found that the data retrieved from large-scale companies are relevant to a potential court case, was illegally obtained, or was invasion of someone's personal affairs. And this just proves that they're not always used for reasonable and relevant purposes in law. And also, social media, or within social media, government agencies are able to track your apps and what you look up, meaning that they're using it for their own good, meaning that like when they are repeating or like when you see that what you look up is repeating within your search history, it's going against your consent, and you're not able to choose what they track and what they don't track. And also, the government is involved in unlawful acts to monitor technological advancements. And in February, the Wall Street Journal reported that the sensitive location data isn't just for commercial entities, but it's also being purchased by the U.S. government agencies, including U.S. Immigration and U.S. Customs Enforcement, to locate and arrest immigrants. And also, if the government is able to monitor our technologies, then it limits our freedom of expression. And we shouldn't have to worry about the invasion of privacy that comes with being monitored.
So, to further back up Molly, the government is involved in unlawful acts to monitor technology advancement. The evidence is, in February, the Wall Street Journal reported that the sensitive location data isn't just for sale to these commercial entities, but also being purchased by the U.S. government agencies, including U.S. immigration and custom enforcements to locate and arrest immigrants. So not only are they buying this information from the social media, they're using it to track down people and basically hunt them down. Another point is all these regulations to technology.
Time.
Sorry. So to restate something you guys said earlier about terms and conditions and how that allows companies to share your information. Usually a term and condition, it says, do you accept these terms and conditions? I want to ask you all a question. Do y'all actually read the terms and conditions in its entirety? Raise your hand if yes. Well, raise your hand if you always or almost always click, yes, I accept terms and conditions. You guys don't have to say yes. You can just say no. If it doesn't allow you to continue using the site, then it's probably a bad site for you to use. You also mentioned how the government is easily hackable, and if you were to allow more control, it'd get hacked more easier. This was most likely very false. The US government has a very secure domain and has only been hacked once or twice, and even then, you didn't really see a difference in how technology or websites changed or still run. We didn't actually have anyone start shooting up our doors and be like, hey, I saw you posted on Instagram in 2012 that you like dogs. I think that's bad. That doesn't happen. Our data is getting shared, but there's not really much doing it that harms us. And you also mentioned how the government shares your location and steals your location from commercialized apps such as Life360 or even Snapchat and SnapMap. The government already has your location. If you have cellular data, which I guarantee almost all of you do, that is the process of how your cell phone connects to cell towers. In order for you to make calls, you can make calls with Wi-Fi, but even Wi-Fi is connected to cell towers. The government uses this to allow for first responders to know your location when you don't actually know the street you're on. If I were to call 911 and I had an emergency and I don't know where I am, they can find my last cell tower pin. They collect your location, but it's for good reason. They don't just say, this person was on a shady block in downtown Atlanta for 4 hours. They aren't going to do much with that. They can't even know who you actually are, just that it's a phone was there. They can track your IP address, but everyone does that. Almost every country tracks your IP address. This is all for safety purposes, and also hackers can't actually get your IP address unless they are inside the government firewalls. And our government would break down if that happened, and that hasn't happened yet. You also mentioned how after Elon Musk took over Twitter and renamed it X, that he has put into place these controls and different privacy stuff. Have you actually been on Twitter lately? X. Do you know how much crazy stuff people say on that? Yeah, it's still on there. In order for X and Twitter to take a post down, it has to be reported. So if no one sees you saying, hey, I'm gonna go murder someone at this time, it won't actually get flagged unless someone reports it. And yes, there are keywords that Twitter and X has in place that is if someone says so-and-so, we are like, hey, that's a really bad thing, you're getting flagged, you are getting banned. They have that in place for your safety. These websites use information like flagging keywords and reporting stuff for the safety and privacy of others around them. But it's like how Mount Vernon will say that if you say something that's a not okay comment, they will say you are a harm to not only yourself but others in this building, and we'll have a talk with you. That's what I wanted to say. Lydia?
So government monitoring is important for ensuring national and public security against hackers and potential threats. And it's important in preventing misinformation and manipulation from other users and AI on social media. And so to protect our privacy online, we need to hold corporations responsible for their technology, and the government needs to do that. We need to control and constrain to keep us safe as U.S. citizens. And
Time. Negative, you now have your last 5 minutes for conclusion and rebuttal.
Okay, I wanted to start off by clarifying that Elon Musk said in his interview that he bought X because he thought people should have the freedom to say whatever they want and without government control. Also, I wanted to make the point that nothing ever goes away from your phone. Whatever you put out is saved into your iCloud, and Apple is a government-involved company, and so all of that data can be accessed so easily from the government. So even when you turn off data collection on like Instagram or anything, that data is still going to be able to be accessed. The government should not be allowed to have the power to monitor and control technological advancements. While some may argue that the government oversight is necessary for security, the consequences of such control are damaging. Technology thrives on the ability of people and companies to explore new ideas freely without oversight. And in this time where cybersecurity is a growing concern, centralizing control in the hands of the government could make sensitive data more vulnerable to breaches. Hackers and online criminals would find new opportunities to make weaknesses public in government systems, putting individuals' personal information at risk. The very measures meant to protect citizens could actually expose them to greater harm. Also, not everyone likes the government, so even if they said that there's an app or something that they're putting regulations on and that now it's safe, they might not even be trusted. So putting regulations on apps or AI, it might actually cause people to rebel or just stop using those different companies.
Also, people have said that innovation tends to increase with fewer government regulations. According to a study by the Information Technology and Innovation Foundation, found that countries with more open markets and fewer technology regulations grow their technology advances faster, leading to an overall higher GDP and or gross domestic products. Innovation is something that the government can't control. People have a mind of their own and are trying to control that will lead to nothing new or innovative creation. People have more creativity and can do more without the regulations controlling them on what they can create. Another key issue is that technologies are often not thoroughly researched or tested before being deployed on a wide scale. The government's use of such technologies can lead to significant errors and the spread of false information. Facial recognition, predictive algorithms, and other tools are not foolproof, and when they are rushed into use, it can produce flawed results. And these errors can lead to wrongful surveillance, incorrect data collection, and the potential violation of civil liberties. Innovation is constrained, personal safety is compromised, and the potential for misuse and error occurs. Allowing the government to control technological advancements would hinder progress and create more issues than solutions. For these reasons, we must protect technological freedom and ensure that advancements are driven by creativity and innovation and not stifled by government oversight. Also, the government is terrified of AI, which is why there are so many regulations on how AI is used.